scary.
It's the night where you can hear the ghosts and goblins play. It's Halloween. It's my holiday. This is not a scientific holiday. This is the day for ghosts and vampires, witches, and all sorts of haunted paranormal activity.
I know, I feel like you kind of have a leg up on me.
A little
on this
bit. I mean,
episode.
who's going to vote for science on the day of the devil, you know?
I don't know, I might have some tricks up my sleeve, James. We'll just have to... Oh.
Well, I got some treats up mine. It is our Halloween special, baby. I'm wearing my Chucky shirt. Do you like Chucky from Child's Play?
Oh, guys, I'm scared to admit this.
You haven't seen it, have you?
Never seen the movie.
Oh my God.
Nope.
Who's your favorite? Do you have a favorite like horror icon?
I like Blumhouse.
Like just the company.
The company, yeah. I like their stuff. Haunting of Hill House is my favorite. It's a horror series. If you've seen it,
I have seen
it's
that. It's great.
incredible. Gives me like makes my body hot.
Speaking of things on Netflix,
Yeah.
my topic for today was the inspiration for a movie that came out this year on Netflix.
Wow. Did you want to?
Let's get into it. I think.
All right.
So this story was the inspiration for the movie The Deliverance from 2024. Not Deliverance. That's a great movie as well. But
Is it out yet?
the original Deliverance has
No,
been out
the-
since the 70s. This one's 2024, and which is this year.
Yeah, it's
So
2024,
it
so-
came out back in August.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Apparently it's not great, but check it out. So the date is November 11th, 2011. No, it's not November 11th. It's just November of 2011. Latoya Ammons and her mother, Rosa Campbell, and her 3 children move into a house at 3860 Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana. Cut to about a month later, they start noticing black flies are swarming their porch. It's the middle of winter. It's December, so that's weird. That same month, Rosa begins hearing footsteps in the basement and doors creaking on their own. At one point, she even claims to see a, quote, shadowy, sexy figure of a man pacing in the living room. And this shadowy figure then chokes her.
Shadowy what figure?
It's a shadowy, sexy figure of a man shadow.
Sorry.
That's her words exactly, which then starts to choke her. So not so sexy now.
Unless she's into that kind of thing.
That's exactly what I wrote. That is exactly what I wrote.
Great minds.
Great minds think alike. Now, I have to say that little story there sounds a little bit like sleep paralysis to me.
Yeah.
Shadowy figure, the choking. I've had that before. I have my own sleep paralysis stories, I gotta tell you. But we'll get to that in another video. In early 2012, Ammons' oldest daughter was reportedly seen levitating above her bed during a sleepover. So things have escalated here.
Sounds like it.
Flies, shadow person, that could have been sleep paralysis. Now people are floating around. Now the kid had no memory of this, but the family claimed to have seen it. And then her 2 sons started exhibiting some strange behavior as well. One of them said that he was thrown across the room by an unknown force. And the younger brother said he started having episodes where his eyes would roll back and he started growling phrases like, "It's time to die and I will kill you." That's what the family began to report.
Unsettling.
It's not something you want to hear from your child.
No.
In April of 2012, police are contacted and the children are taken to the hospital. The older son behaves rationally while the younger son screams and thrashes. The Department of Child Services was alerted, of course, obviously. Now, at first, the DCS personnel believed that they were just performing for their mother, but then a report comes out from a staff member who said that he saw the youngest child walking up the wall backwards at the home. So that's something interesting for a child service worker to report.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just him, Irish. Wasn't just him either. Charles Austin, a 37-year-old police captain who also went to the home and interviewed some of the family members, also said that he thought there was some paranormal stuff going on. He'd hear things, weird noises and stuff, and it was just very unsettled in the home. And at this point, the family really wasn't sure what they should do. On April 22nd, 2012, they hire Reverend Michael Magino to perform an exorcism. He concludes that they are tormented by demons. The Reverend performs 3 exorcisms, 2 in English and one in Latin, including one on LaToya Evans herself. And it was soon after this that the family just said, you know what, why don't we just move houses? Because all this stuff started as soon as we moved here.
There it is.
They moved to Indianapolis, at which point they claimed that all the paranormal activity finally came to an end. What do you think about this one?
Well, you know, things like this do freak me out. And I always wonder if there's some kind of mold in the walls
Uh-huh.
causing hallucinations.
Sure.
But I suppose you said some of these incidences were witnessed outside of the home.
Well, not outside of the home necessarily. It was, I mean, there was the case of the hospital where the kid was thrashing around.
Okay,
But-
but I mean, that's could be common for a case of psychosis.
Yeah, that's true. Most of this stuff was in the home. It was when they'd come over and interview or anything.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, and the thing with that is I don't think that toxicity poisoning would take place that quickly.
But quickly, if you
Yeah,
just
that
came
you'd
in.
start hallucinating
immediately,
on the first visit in that short amount of
Yeah.
time.
So it'd be odd to see a kid crawling backwards up a wall. Is what you're saying.
I mean, it's
If you-
odd, yeah.
yeah.
it's odd.
Mhm.
Family of acrobats by any chance?
That's also very possible. You know,
Sticky foot and handed acrobats?
just put a bunch of glue on the wall before anyone comes over. All right, now
Can
climb
you
up that
insert the
wall.
sound of like ducks? You know, duck feet, and they're like this. They're like
like SpongeBob walking
they're
around.
so cute. I'm gonna mess up my mic. They're like this.
Oh, that's you're singing
You
that
know,
kind
the like
of thing.
splat little ducks.
Yeah, yeah.
The-
Well, yeah. So I mean, that's the story. I mean, obviously, you know, this kind of thing is. I just think it's a cool, interesting story because it's recent. You don't hear about a lot of possession cases and that kind of thing nowadays.
recently. So
2012.
this, yeah, you're right. It's more kind of way back when.
Yeah, you hear about them in like. Well, there's the Annalise Michel case or whatever. That one was in like what 70s or something like that, height of the Satanic Panic and all that.
Yeah.
But 2012, you know, all I think
Yeah,
about in
it's not
2012 is
fun.
like, I think about
Like Kesha.
Jersey, you know, Jersey Shore. I think
HCAP.
about like, I think about the world potentially ending. Into that.
Oh, the Mayan
2012
calendar.
thing.
Yeah, of course.
Of course it didn't. We're all here. Spoiler.
Or did it?
We're in hell right now. Well, that's mine. What do you got in store for us today on this day of tricks and treats?
Well, I've got something.
Before we start, I just wanted to mention that I specified that we could all be in hell right now. We could also be in the one up there. We could be in heaven too. It's Halloween. I had spooky on my mind.
We could also be in purgatory.
This would be a weird heaven to be inside of right now.
It would be a little bit. Yeah.
Heaven is
There's a little bit too many planes going overhead for it to be heaven. A little too many like.
heaven's
you know,
high mortgages,
these seats are
expensive
not-
houses,
Yeah, that's true.
pollution, smog.
Well, you know, if things are too good, then it would get boring.
Ooh, the Matrix.
You ever seen that Twilight episode?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too.
Wait, like Twilight, like
Twilight,
the, like
or
the
no,
vampires?
sorry, Twilight Zone.
Oh.
The Twilight Zone episode where this guy, like, he's a gambler. Sorry, everybody. We'll just, maybe we could throw a clip of it up on the screen. He's a gambler, and he's like, you know, he thinks he's possibly died in an accident, but he wakes up, he's fine. And
Yeah.
he meets this guy, and you know, he's winning all these gambling matches and stuff, and he's winning all these games, and all these women are like loving him and stuff. He's like, "What is this place? What is it? It's like I'm in heaven." And then this guy just goes, "Oh, something quite similar." And you're like, "Oh, it's hell." You know, that's
And now you don't need to watch the episode.
all right.
All right, it's time to talk Halloween, murder, and of course, science. On October 31st, that's Halloween, of 1975, Mary H., just 17 years old, was preparing for an evening of fun as her friends waited for her to join them. Only she never did. But it wasn't until Mary's parents arrived back at their family home that anyone knew why Mary never made it out on Halloween night of 1975. When her family returned home later that night, they found the door ajar, and inside they discovered Mary's lifeless body in her bedroom. The scene was horrific. She had been brutally attacked. Mary's parents quickly called the police, who arrived on the scene not long after. When authorities arrived, they found evidence of a struggle. Furniture was overturned and personal items were scattered everywhere. And Mary had suffered multiple stab wounds. Detectives quickly began securing the crime scene, collecting physical evidence such as fingerprints, hair, samples, and fibers from the surroundings. And then came forensic experts who were called to analyze the evidence. One critical aspect of the forensic science was the blood splatter patterns, which provided insight to how the killer broke in, the struggle that had ensued, and ultimately Mary's very brutal and drawn out death. And additionally, forensic etymology, the study of insect activity, was used to help determine the time of her death, which was, which was not long before her parents arrived. Unfortunately, however, science isn't always foolproof, and the evidence was not able to lead to Mary's attacker, nor could it answer the question of why Mary would have been targeted in the first place. Ultimately, the case went cold, as it remains to this day. It was a dark moment in Halloween history, one of many murders that took place on Halloween. Another one being the death of young Timmy, who was killed on the very same night just 1 year prior. You see, on October 31st of 1974, Timothy's father, Ronald O'Brien, took his children out trick-or-treating, and after a while, O'Brien led the children to a seemingly abandoned house with no lights on. O'Brien knocked on the door. No response, but nonetheless, he returned with a large package of pixie sticks, if you remember those from being a kid, and he said they were from the house. He gave them to Timothy, and later that evening, after eating a pack of those pixie sticks, Timothy died within just a matter of hours after consuming them. The candy had been poisoned by Timothy's dad, Ronald O'Brien, who had been hoping to cash in on Timmy's massive life insurance policy that he had taken out on his son just a little while prior. The poison of choice: sodium cyanide, a white crystalline powder that is extremely toxic and deadly, as it inhibits cellular respiration by binding to cytochrome C oxidase, which is an enzyme in the mitochondria, which subsequently disrupts the electron transport chain, which then prevents cells from utilizing oxygen. Those who die of this kind of poisoning do so of asphyxiation. Despite the fact that they're still able to breathe, they die from loss of breath, or like loss of ability to use the oxygen they're breathing. Anyways, after Timothy's death, an investigation took place which found Ronald O'Brien guilty of killing his son, and in March of 1975, O'Brien was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death, a sentence carried out in 1984 by lethal injection, a lethal injection that did not contain sodium cyanide, but that did contain sodium thiopental, an anesthetic used to induce unconsciousness; pancronium bromide, a neuromuscular blocker that causes paralysis, including paralysis of the diaphragm leading to respiratory failure; and potassium chloride, a drug that induces cardiac arrest by disrupting the electrical signals that regulate the heartbeat. All in all, I'd say it was pretty fitting, and he got what he deserved.
You get what you fucking deserve. I just saw Joker too yesterday. Yeah, right after kids being murdered.
Oh my god!
And do a joke. Well, yeah, that's messed up. I think I remember reading something about that. So unless it was just a similar story, which is awful. That there's more than one of those.
As far as my research shows, I mean, I'm sure it's happened a bunch of times. This is the time it happened on Halloween. Both cases were honestly terrible. In the case of Mary H., the case was never solved, and it really did change the town. It changed the day, you know.
Yeah.
It definitely put a somber blanket over things. So
yeah, as killing tends to do, you know. I was wondering for that first part, like, where is the science part coming in? It's interesting that they did that investigation and found out about how it was
the magic of science. I had to pull something a little bit gory and scary, you know. It's Halloween. I'm not just gonna hit you with a bunch of facts today. Next week, get ready to Google some words, because you won't know them. Because they'll be big.
Are you excited to Google some words next week, folks? Tune in. Well, it is now that time
Looks
of the
like
night.
we've come to the time. So, hopefully by now you guys know the drill. Much of you, hopefully.
The whole army. Yeah.
So we're gonna pull out that good old wheel of sin. We're gonna give it a roll. We're gonna see what the punishment is, and then
Is it a roll or is it a spin?
all right, science.
You could have rhymed that. Pull out the wheel of sin, give it a spin, and you just...
And
Fucked
see
it.
who wins.
There you go.
Yeah.
You saved it. All right. Well, first someone has to be the winner or loser, then we spin it, right?
No, I thought we did the punishment first.
Last time we
let's
did
switch it
the
up.
wheel after.
Let's
We did the wheel
let's
after.
switch it
Yeah.
up. Let's switch it up. It's Halloween.
Oh, let's see what the punishment is.
See what the punishment is first.
Yeah. So because it's Halloween and things are scary, and this video had some mature content, we've got some mature punishments on the board today.
That sounds mature punishments. We're gonna do mature.
I'm just gonna hand this over to James.
All right. So how about let's do it this way?
Yeah.
We are gonna spin first to find out what the punishment is before we know who's actually lost.
Yeah.
Why don't I spin first? I'll know what my punishment is. Then you spin.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's do it. Da-da-da-da.
I have hot sauce shot.
Very nice.
All right.
All right, let's see. I have crickets.
Oh boy.
Still on crickets.
That's a good one.
Okay, let's do the voting. So,
do the voting.
because none of these videos are uploaded yet, and none of you lovely people have had time to vote, it's gonna be our lovely editors today behind the screen that are gonna vote. So, James is number 1. I am number 2, just for the voting process.
Yeah. We'll see who wins.
Yeah. So we're gonna close our eyes, count to 3, and they'll give us the damage.
3, 2, 1.
And it's a tie.
You know what that means? Rock, paper, scissors time. All right, we'll do it. Rock, paper, scissors.
Wait,
I
shoot.
didn't do the shoot.
I
Oh, sorry.
won.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. That's the first time I've lost the rock, paper, scissors.
I'm gonna go grab a shot glass.
How am I even gonna get that down?
There we go.
You're really gonna have to
Suck it
slurp on
back, eh?
Yeah, to really suck it.
Oh,
I'm recording here.
oh, that's so
No, we should have gotten that
disgusting.
on camera. Is that one recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Oh, we're good. Oh.
Oh, Jesus. That, oh, yeah, that's not fun to look at. It looks like little animals in there. Like little, all right, so
What kind of animal
what
looks
this
like
is,
that?
folks, is, a shot of gin
Yep.
with, what is it? Well, you did it.
Some good old sriracha mayo. And some Franks, not sponsored.
Oh, God, I'm getting the little, do you know how the oil, like, separates and it, like, floats to the top in little things? God, it looks so messed up.
Happy Halloween.
All right, we ready?
Yep.
I don't even know if this is going to go
I'll
down.
cheers
but we
you.
have to- oh, great. Yeah. Happy Halloween, everybody.
So bad.
Oh, that aftertaste is bad. That's oh. Well, thanks for tuning in.
See you next week.
What?